Still, there was something so very, very rural about those segments on the news. They reminded her of the incorruptibility of the area where she was living, the simplicity and regularity of a wholesome society. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, she'd help get her grandmother ready for her physical therapy sessions that ran from 10 to noon at the hospital. During those times, Etta would go next door to the library and work on researching her family tree. If she knew more about Leo and Henrietta, maybe she'd understand where she came from, the kind of love and passion of her family, the family her wonderful grandmother knew in her life. The diaries she'd found in her grandmother's desk had awoken a type of passion from within. In a short time, Etta learned that her great-grandmother had come with her parents and her older sister from Germany when she was a small girl, just a toddler, just after 1900. They had 3 more children after they'd settled in Iowa, a boy and 2 more girls. The boy had died in an influenza breakout in late 1910, so they had been a family with 4 young girls. Henrietta's father had developed tuberculosis shortly before World War I had broken out, and she and the 2 younger sisters had been sent to live with others. Henrietta had moved in with her older sister, Anna, who had just recently gotten married. The 2 younger girls had gone to live with an older aunt who knew very little English. After her father's death, her mother was then put in a sanitarium in Minnesota, where she died less than 6 months later. At the point where she met her soon-to-be husband, Henrietta had been on the cusp of becoming an orphan. Her life was in turmoil. She had almost no prospects of a future, certainly not a future where she'd get any kind of an education. She was fortunate to find a job as a cook in a well-to-do home and a ride to and from a loving home. What had her life been like? Did she feel as vulnerable as she was? Was she a smart and independent-thinking woman? What did she think her life would be like at that time? Etta would be pondering these thoughts after her time was up researching at the library. She'd take her grandmother home, get her a good dinner, and she'd be out cold for the rest of the day. Her therapy was a drain on her heart, mind, and soul. Her body longed for relief after pushing it to do more and more with each session. But she was making great strides. She was being encouraged to try walking up the steps into the house without assistance. With a few more weeks of therapy, she aspired to be back in her own bed upstairs. She wanted to get back to her life and be independent. It might take the whole summer, but Jen was determined to get to that point, and Etta would be by her side. While her grandmother slept, Etta would read in Henrietta's journals. She'd turn from page to page, jumping from time to time to see if there'd be a clue to what had gone on in her life. Yet by the time she'd finished the journals in the late 20s, they were just a litany of blasé everyday life. Perhaps if she started from the beginning again, she'd find more of a glimpse of what life had been for Henrietta. She started with the week following the chivalry where Leo had kissed her. May 25th, 1916. Today was my turn to ride up front with the driver. It was a lovely, sun-shining day with a high temp of 73. While we rode to work, Leo held my hand the whole way. He held it on the way home, too. I know Nellie saw us, even though she and Maud faced the other way on the buckboard, but she didn't say a thing. I saw Nellie and Tony Brown in the barn kissing last week, so maybe she is just trading secrets with me.